So let's just take it around the couch for a little bit and talk about our top line thoughts as we get out of this. Kaylee, dealer's choice of the myriad topics the president covered that you want to chat about.
Here's my takeaway. I'm not sure it will be particularly insightful, but the takeaway is that no one knows what is going to happen except for the commander-in-chief sitting behind the Resolute desk. And I say that because I was convinced as we were heading into the weekend that this was over. Hostilities were over. There would be an impending deal. And then, of course, you had Iran strike Israel over the weekend and that back and forth fire. And I was even more emboldened in that prediction of an impending deal because the president didn't dial it up. He pulled it down. And there was a ceasefire that came between Israel and Iran, and it resumed. And then you get the sense that the strike of the U.S. Apache helicopter changed everything. There was the retaliatory strikes last night, the hitting of 20 Iranian targets. And then what he said is so significant. He literally said, they're playing us for suckers. We have the right to do what we're going to do. We are going to hit them hard today in case you don't want to turn on your television. Could that be broadcasting and trying to push Iran into a deal? Sure. Could it be an actual broadcast of what we're about to see today? Yes. We don't know. The president of the United States does. But I think we're hitting a point where we might find out very soon whether we're getting back into this.
And a very different tack from before. The original bombings when, he told no one, remember, to the chagrin of Japan. For example, here he's giving ample warning.
Yeah, there's one more thing to kind of add to this, and it's from the words of an IRGC leader. And I feel like every time I quote one, that one may not still be alive, because I know Israel and the United States have killed a lot of people, and even leading up to the ceasefire and beyond with Israel. But Ahmed Kahidi has said there will be no deal negotiating the enrichment of uranium and their capacity, their capabilities with nuclear energy and weaponry. I'm paraphrasing because, of course, it's translated as well. But the bottom line is nukes aren't on the table, and the president has said that's our main mission. So sooner or later, we have to bump up against the fact that that deal is elusive unless it has it in there. The president won't make a bad deal. Like, he won't do that. So now we don't have to wait, though, because he did say this when asked by a reporter. Let's roll. This is just from a couple of minutes ago because he took a lot of questions, as Emily said.
You said that now they will have to pay the price. Yeah. What did you mean by that specifically?
Well, we're going to be attacking them very hard.
You're resuming bombing?
Yeah, well, we are. Based on the helicopter, I guess we have the right to do that. I've been working with Iran for a number of months, and they should sign their deal. It's a good deal. It doesn't give them the right to have a nuclear weapon.
And then what did we see after Iran shot down that Army Apache helicopter? Brand new stuff we haven't seen from our military. Now, they had it, but we hadn't seen that drone capacity on the water rescue someone, not risking more human life to go get the two crewmen who were inside that Apache helicopter. I mean, that's amazing. That's miraculous in itself. And the world sees this. Our enemies see this. Iran sees this. And when he says he's going to hit them hard, and that's today, he said, in case you miss it. That was a quote. Just in case you happen to not be near a TV today, I want to let you know it's happening.
And Kenny, I thought it was sort of interesting that he specifically talked about Graham Platner. He called him a thug. He called him a pig. He said, no disrespect to pigs, frankly, but he was very clear that he was considers him a bad person.
Yeah, and where are the feminists on that one? That's what I've been wondering this entire time. Even AOC was cornered on the steps of the Capitol and asked about, her thoughts on Graham Platner. And, she hedged a little bit. She's like, oh, yeah, and some of that was very problematic for her, as it should be, as a progressive feminist. But then she goes, so AOC has a big but. And that's a problem for Democrats because all of this is acceptable. And, I fear, as we all do, that there's going to be more. It's going to be a giant distraction. And, the president knows that the Republican Party is going to have to pour a bunch of money into Maine and Texas to fight for those 2 Senate seats. They are still very much up in the air. And, you have to put your trust in voters at some point. But what more information will they have to make their final decision in November? It's like, what other skeletons are going to fall out of that messy closet?
He backed her today. He backed Susan Collins. He said, ideologically, they don't always agree. He said, but she's a sane woman. She knows what she's doing. She's done every vote, like thousands of votes, he said. And I wish she'd miss one of those days, he said, because sometimes she votes against me. That's a quote from the president. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and so you're talking about the money, but you've also got that.
And all this, Joe, on the heels of, or the main point there, which was signing that, frankly, historic bill now and getting it across the finish line.
A very big deal. And I think the president would be smart not only to hit Graham Platner in terms of his character, which is very easy to do, and it's all out there, but go after the policy as well. Graham Platner is on the record right now saying that he is against defunding border security. Think about that for a moment. Defunding DHS, abolishing ICE. So I say hit Platner on the Nazi tattoo, or black people don't tip, or women need to be more adults to avoid getting raped. Or I could go down the litany of things that he has said and done. Oh, the predatory sites, by the way, that could be problematic, right? But hit him on policy as well. This is somebody who is embracing communism, and this is somebody who's going up against Susan Collins, who the president said, this isn't my best friend, but at the same time, she is saying in the last 3 elections, when she was counted out, she won by 23 points, 30 points, and 9 points. So with all this baggage on Platner's side, I think he's going to have a very hard time winning, especially when he said that rural Mainers, those who don't live in Portland or Bangor, are stupid and racist. Put that in an ad over and over again and see if those people vote for you.
I would just note that Trump messaging is helpful to Platner to say she's not always with me. This is not someone who's MAGA. So that's very strategic and really good politics from the president.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.